Good afternoon, everyone. Our subject for this little mini lesson today is idolatry. Idolatry is the worship of physical objects as though they are God. People through the centuries, through the years, have worshipped things that God has created instead of worshiping God. The sun, the moon, the stars, rocks, animals. There's different things that God has created that people have taken those and worshiped them as though they are God. People also have worshipped things that men have created and still do some places. But to take something that man has created and worship it as though it were God, that's idolatry. An example of that would be when Aaron made the golden calf for the Israelites while Moses was up on the mountain. And if we're going to go and read some of that for a short time here. In Exodus chapter 32, I'd like to read the first 9 verses. It says, "And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron, and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, or your sons, or of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off the golden earrings which were in the ears, and brought them to Aaron. And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with the graving tool, after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a feast to the Lord. And they rose up early in the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go, get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And the Lord said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. So they had Aaron make them a golden calf to worship. And we drop on down to verse 30 and read a few more verses. It says, And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses said unto the people, Ye have sinned a great sin, and now I will go up unto the Lord. Peradventure I shall make an atonement for your sin. And Moses returned unto the Lord and said, Oh, this people have sinned a great sin, and have made them gods of gold. Yet now, if thou wilt forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray thee, out of thy book, which thou hast written. And the Lord said unto Moses, Whosoever has sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. Idolatry. It's a great sin. It is very displeasing in the sight of God. God condemns idolatry in the Old Testament, and he also condemns it in the New Testament. And the Old Testament is part of the 10 Commandments. If we turn back in Exodus to chapter 20 and read the first 6 verses. Exodus 20, verses 1 through 6. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, and to the third and fourth generation to them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do thy work, but the seventh is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor manservant, nor maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within the gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is therein, and rested on the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. And it continues, but points out God is very displeased about those that commit idolatry. Other passages we can look at, we can go over to Leviticus chapter 26, and reading verse 1. Leviticus 26 and verse 1. And here it says, Ye shall make you no idols, nor graven image, neither rear you up a standing image, neither shall ye set up any image of stone in your land, to bow down unto it, for I am the Lord your God. We go over to Deuteronomy chapter 4. Deuteronomy chapter 4. Get back here just a moment. And begin reading with verse 25. And here it says, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that ye shall soon utterly perish from off the land whereinto ye go over Jordan to possess it. Ye shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. For the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you. And there ye shall serve gods and work the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see nor hear nor eat nor smell. And we'll continue a few more verses. And if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, thou shalt find him, if thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul, when thou art in tribulation, and all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days, if thou turn to the Lord thy God, and shall be obedient unto his voice. For the Lord thy God is a merciful God. He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers, which he sware unto them. So here we see the pointing out in verse 28, and there ye shall serve gods and the work of men's hands, and wood and stone. So, and these gods they can't see or hear, but yet they worship them. Through the centuries, people have worshipped things like that, things that man has made, or things that God has made, instead of worshiping God. In Deuteronomy chapter 11, we're going to turn over a few more chapters and look at verses 16 and 17. Take heed to yourselves and to that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods and worship them, and then the Lord's wrath be kindled against you, and he shut up the heavens, and there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, and lest ye perish quickly from off the good land which the Lord giveth you. Just another example of how we are not to, they were not to worship idols and other gods. And then I'm going to turn on over to the book of Isaiah. In Isaiah chapter 40, I read verses 18 through 20. To whom then will ye liken God, or what likeness will ye compare unto him? The workman melteth a graven image, and the goldsmith spreadeth it over with gold, and casteth silver chains. He that is so impoverished that he hath no oblation chooseth a tree that will not rot. He seeketh unto him a cunning workman to prepare a graven image that shall not be moved. Have ye not known? Have ye not heard? Hath it not been told you from the beginning? Have ye not understood from the foundation of the earth? It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. And so the idolatry was condemned under the old law, and it is also, idolatry is condemned under the new law, the New Testament. We're going to now turn to the New Testament, to the book of Romans. Romans chapter 1, first chapter, reading verses 20 through 23. Romans 1, 22, or 20 through 23. For the invisible things of him that from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the incorruptible God into an image made like a corruptible man, and to birds, and four-footed beasts, and creeping things. So here is an example of individuals that they make things, they make idols, images, and worship them as gods. And they can be made as birds or beasts or creeping things or whatever, these images. And of course it is very displeasing in God's sight. And all that God has done for us, and sending his Son to die for us, and people to be so unthankful that they want to worship idols instead of worshiping God. How terrible that is. We turn now to 1 John chapter 5. 1 John chapter 5, and we'll be reading verses 20 and 21. And we know that the Son of God is come, and hath given us an understanding, that we may know him that is true, and we are in him that is true, even in his Son, Jesus Christ. This is the true God and eternal life. Little children, keep yourselves from idols. We're to stay away from the idols. We're not to worship idols. We are to worship God. We're to honor God, worship God, and we are to follow Jesus and the example that he has left for us. I'm going to read one more passage here before we close this short lesson. Going back to Acts. In Acts chapter 17, begin with verse 16. Acts 17, verse 16. And we will continue reading on down through the rest of the chapter. Now, while Paul waited for them at Athens, his spirit was stirred in him when he saw the city wholly given to idolatry. Therefore disputed he in the synagogue with the Jews, and with the devout persons, and in the market daily with them that met him with him. Then certain philosophers of the Epicureans and of the Stoics encountered him, and some said, "What will this babbler say?" Others some, "He seemeth to be a setter forth of strange gods, because he preached unto them Jesus and the resurrection." And they took him and brought him unto Areopolis, saying, "May we know what this new doctrine whereof thou speakest is? For thou bringest certain strange things to our ears. We would know, therefore, what these things mean." For all the Athenians and strangers that were there spent their time in nothing else but either to tell or to hear some new thing. Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, "Ye men of Athens, I perceive that in all things ye are too superstitious. For I passed by and beheld your devotions. I found an altar unto the inscription, To the unknown God. Whom therefore ye ignorantly worship, him declare I unto you. God that made the world and all that things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands, neither is worshipped with men's hands, as though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things, and hath made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and hath determined the times before appointed and the bonds of their habitation, that they should seek the Lord, if haply they might feel after him, and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of your own poets have said, for we are also his offspring. Forasmuch then as we are the offspring of God, we ought not to think that the Godhead is like unto gold or silver or stone, graven by the art of man's device. And the times of this ignorance God winked at, but now commandeth all men everywhere to repent, because he hath appointed a day in the which he will judge the world in righteousness by that man whom he hath ordained, whereof he hath given assurance unto all men, in that he hath raised him from the dead. And when they heard of the resurrection of the dead, they mocked, and others said, We will hear thee again of this matter. So Paul departed from them among them. Howbeit certain men clave unto him, and believed, among the which was Dionysius the Areopagite, and the woman named Damaris, and others with them. So, worshiping God, not images. Nothing that God has created are we to worship. We're to worship God instead. Not anything that man has created are we to worship. We're to worship God, the creator and the giver of all blessings. This is our lesson for today. Hope you enjoyed this lesson, and hope you will tune in next time. Have a wonderful day.